All right, Ryan Campbell, owner of the Crew Real Estate Company. We're sitting here in your office. Thanks for hosting us. Really appreciate it.
No problem, no problem. Happy to be here.
Off camera, I was talking about how dapper you looked. Show the camera your shoes.
I try to look okay for you. My shoes.
Let's get to look at these beauties. I mean, are you kidding? That's fantastic. So, but tell me why, because you made a good point. So, you know, we're talking about maybe being a little bit casual. Why dressing up all the time right now?
Yeah. I think the industry has gone away from this, but I've always tried to lead by example, and I'm seeing a few too many hoodies around the office, tracksuits around the office. So if I show up here, then they don't show up in track pants anymore.
Yeah, totally. And so tell us a little bit about your crew. So you've got how many agents? What territories you guys been looking after?
Yeah, so we are Brantford, Paris, and Hamilton primarily. We're expanding into Norfolk now. We've got some new projects there. I'm actually doing 118 townhouses in Port Rowan.
Good for you.
Supposed to launch soon. And yeah, we have 20 agents, and support staff is probably another 6. So yeah, a really top team. We are hoping to do about 300 million in sales. So that would put us in the upper echelon.
Yeah, for sure it does. For sure it does. And that's nothing to shake a stick at. How long you been going? When did you kind of grow? Did you start out on your own? Did you start out with a team?
I did start out just me. I was an agent on my own for about 4 months, and then I realized I needed some help. Called my brother, said, I need you. He was a prof. And he quit and came back to assist, and it's been the 2 of us ever since at the top. And that was 2014, and then we added our first person that was Josh Wall in 2016. I just saw him on the street, and I said, I need to hire this guy. Yeah. And I didn't have a job. I turned him into our brand ambassador.
Yep.
And he would just talk to people and organize events. And yeah, so he started 2016. And then we started adding agents 2017, 18, and we had a really good growth the last 2 years. Up to about 20, and I think we're at a stage that I'm happy, not trying to expand to 100, but anywhere in between 20 to 25.
Yeah, perfect.
Is our spot.
And I've had the benefit of getting to know Josh Wall on your team. You got a phenomenal team, a lot of great realtors. We'll probably meet some of them after this talk. Can you tell us kind of a little bit more about that story? So you meet Josh Wall literally on the street. What's he doing when you meet him? Like you're just driving by and bump into him?
So yeah, Josh was handing out flyers for an event. His job was selling newspaper ads. And he was not in a very good spot personally. He did tell you that. And, I hired him. I purchased a car, and I taught him to drive. And yeah, he became my admin, assistant, everything. And I talked him into taking the classes in 2018. And he became an agent and a counselor here at the time. Yeah, so yeah, he's been in charge of our town for the last 4 years, and he owns property here. Married now, child. So yeah, he's an amazing story.
Yeah, it is an amazing story, and I love the fact that you kind of reached into his life a little bit, gave him an opportunity, and you've seen him flourish. He's also very easy to pick out if people want to check out your website. He's pretty much well known as the guy with the big fro.
He has a giant afro.
Yeah, it's a ginormous afro.
It's huge.
And I would say his personality matches his afro. He's just like full of life. He's a lovable guy, and he's a good asset to your team.
And now he started to mentor young agents,
Oh, good.
trying to do the same as I did to them.
One thing about your team is you would say it's a fairly young team. You guys are sort of cultivating.
Extremely young.
Yeah, and so talk to us a little bit about that, because I think in our industry, one thing that I see as a lack is we're not seeing a lot of mentor-mentee programs. You guys set something up like that?
I do. So Josh is in charge of new agents. He really loves it and is able to take them from zero to the an area that they're able to be an agent.
Yep.
And our team consists of people from the age of 20 to I'm the oldest at 45.
Okay. Good to know. I was curious about that.
Yeah. And but I would say that almost all of our team is in their 20s.
Okay.
I have an agent now who's 21, Eric, who's just grinding. Like, he's on the phones all day, every day, on appointments, in the office every day. He's in the office now.
Nice.
And I see just amazing drive, and I wish I was him.
Yeah. No, I love that. I love that you have that focus on younger agents. How do you get them into the business? So are you meeting them before they're licensed and then encouraging them to get licensed? Or are you meeting them out of school?
Yeah, so I actually find people randomly in the world. So, like, I'll find a bartender, a lawyer's assistant. I have a lot of servers on my team. I have IT people, just in the world, and I just spot them and drag them in.
Yeah.
Our team is all about the culture. Mm-hmm. So it's not your average agents. Everyone is really outgoing, and they have a spark to them.
Yeah, so that's one thing that I noticed. It's one of the reasons that we're sitting here, quite frankly, is because when you walk in your office, there is a cultural aspect to your office that's engaging. It's something I want to be a part of. I came in on a Wednesday. You guys were having a big, I think, your weekly Wednesday lunch. Everyone was in the office. You guys
got that again in an hour, actually.
Yeah. Okay. Good. Yeah. I'll be hungry in an hour. But tell me a little bit about why you've gone after sort of a cultural vibe for your team. I know a lot of different brokerages, different teams. They may go in a totally different direction, where it's more of a feeling of you're on an island. Do you find that they're more productive because of the culture, or you just find it's a better way to be?
Yeah, so the reason why I named it the crew instead of after me is so our people never felt like they were less than, and so they were never in an appointment and having someone ask them where I am. So I really want to build them to stars on their own. And so I need a certain avatar to do that. So it's really that cultural match is important. And
one thing I thought was kind of fun, you actually have people that are so engaged on your team, they have your team branded.
I don't know if I can show my tattoo here.
Yeah, so,
I probably can.
Yeah, get that leg up on the table.
I probably can. So I'm not the only one that actually has one.
Yeah.
It's probably hard to see. I got the crew tattooed here.
Yeah, I see that.
And we have, I think there's 10 others. So
talk about commitment. That's great.
They are crew for life.
Yeah.
And that is a huge honor. There's tons of turnover in our industry.
True.
And our people just feel like they're here for life, and I love that.
Yeah, and I'll tell you, as a team lead myself, if you have that level of commitment, because we do go all in for our teams, don't we? Wouldn't you say, like, I
100%,
pour in, I
100%.
pour into my agents, and sometimes, you'll bring them up and get them going and start them from nothing, or one of my favorite sayings, from nowhere to now here, spelled the same letters, NOWHERE. And then all of a sudden
I'm
they
going to
just
steal that 100%, by the way. That's,
they just take off into the into their own lane, and it's nice to have some commitment coming back. So I love that they're doing that on your side. Tell me a little bit about how you got into the industry. So did you grow up in real estate? Did you start in real estate?
Not at all. I wish. I was in school, actually, at Waterloo, and loved real estate, but didn't find my way there. I bought a pizza shop when I was 21, and I was in the pizza business for 10 years, which was a great experience to learn, but not really a great experience overall.
Okay.
Long hours and low pay. Then I started flipping.
Now, just 1 second.
Yeah, of course.
Before we move on to that,
Yes.
can you flip a raw pizza dough still? Like, can you get that thing spinning?
Unbelievably. I haven't done it.
We're gonna do a short reel on that one day. Just stay tuned for that. We're gonna hit you up.
Just spinning it like this, around the back, everything.
Okay, now you can get into flipping pizzas to flipping houses.
To flipping houses. So I saw the TV shows and said I should try that. So I purchased a property for $75,000. Spent a year on it. I did everything. I did the plumbing, electrical, painting, drywall, which I had no experience and I shouldn't have tried. It took me a year and I made $500.
Wow. Don't mention that address, because that house still exists for somebody somewhere.
It's actually sold a couple of times.
Are you surprised?
I mean, I did an okay job,
Okay.
but
You've learned a lot since then.
I have learned that I need to call people who actually have those skills. I should not be doing electrical work.
Okay, so you flip your first house, you make $500.
I made $500. I realized that I did it not how I probably should have, so I bought another one, and I actually hired contractors. But the contractors I hired were not the contractors who you would probably hire. They showed up the first day. There was 15 guys. I'm pretty sure that only the one guy spoke English. And they took not quite a year, but they took a long time. And I think I made $10,000.
Okay.
So I said, okay, I'm going to try it again. So on my third one and fourth one, I actually hired actual trades and I was more successful. So I started expanding and I actually did about 60 flips over the span of about 10 years.
Wow.
And then it just started to be boring because it'd be the same flooring in every house, the same paint, the same kitchen, no excitement. And my agent, he seemed to be enjoying everything. So I said, I'll try that. So I got licensed just randomly in 2014.
That guy still in the business? I don't need to know his name, but is he still around?
Yeah.
He's still around?
Oh, yeah.
Amazing.
Manny.
Oh, no way.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. That's very, very cool.
Yeah.
That's great. And so tell me about, I think what I'm hearing is more resilience, more grit. I love these stories personally, personal stories of, I was flipping pizzas and I started flipping houses.
So at the pizza shop,
Yeah.
I actually worked from open to close every day for a year.
Wow.
To purchase the flip property.
So where does that come from, and can it be coached? That's one thing I'm actually curious about myself. Resilience, grit, if we look at top agents in our industry, there is a consistency to the fact that there's just that push. Is it something that's inherent? Is it because of your experiences? Where does it come from in you? And do you think that can be parlayed to other agents? In
me, I grew up humbly and I wanted to have more. So I think that I always had that drive. As far as coaching it, I think it's tough. If you hear like top athletes make terrible coaches because they expect that same drive and it can be hard to coach. So I really need to find that in agents, and then their skills are easy to coach.
Yeah, okay, it's interesting, and I think it's the right way to go about it. So you're looking for not necessarily a personality type, but you're looking to spot the resilience, to spot the grit in the agent, and then trying to train up the agent in real estate.
I almost prefer people who have grown up harder.
Yeah, I totally understand that. So one thing I know you do is you invest in coaching for your team. You invest in coaching outside of yourself. Can you tell me a little bit about why you chose that route and the benefits you see?
So I started out with a rather large ego, and I said I'm not going to pay any attention to anyone ever. I'm going to do it totally different, and I can do it 10 times better. That didn't last very long, to the point where I said that there's people out here selling just tons of properties. They probably know some stuff that I still need to learn. So we started coaching with Tom Ferry, and we have coached with lots of great trainers, and still even to bring that knowledge to the team.
And do you find, though, that you are getting things that you otherwise wouldn't coach, and do you see the results? So for all the agents out there that are thinking, like, should I invest in a coach? Should I invest in a team that has coaching? Do you see the ROI? Do you actually see, once that agent starts training, that their success kind of
huge,
takes...
huge. Just as an example, for our team, I was doing about 100 transactions personally.
Wow.
The team at that point was doing about 130, 140, and it was stable. We started coaching and immediately jumped to 200, and then to just about 300 almost immediately. So just the coach really pushed us to scale, because he had teams that are 1,000 transactions. So
right.
Our scale seems smaller to him, whereas it's huge to us.
Right. So when you scale that large and you're doing that type of volume, I know pre-construction has come into your world. What percentage of pre-construction versus resale residential, if you were to split it, is it 60-40, 30-70? How would you split it?
If I could do pre-construction 100, I would. Mm-hmm. I love that. But obviously, resale is still our ticket. We are doing probably about 75% resale.
Okay.
We do have some big projects coming up, which will help. But we are 75% to resale.
Where do you think we're going in this industry? So for me, I'll kind of throw this out here and get your comments on it. But it seems to me that there's a constant pressure on commissions. There's a higher cost of doing business, and there are more and more top salespeople leaving their industries, coming into real estate because of the income potential. Where do you see the future of real estate headed? And I'll ask you specifically with regards to the individual agent, the team model, and the brokerage model.
I really think that the individual agent is going to struggle. I don't see why a person would hire a single agent when they could hire our team of 20 with professional staff to do marketing, to do graphic arts, to push through Instagram and everywhere. It just seems challenging for them to hire that single person compared to a strong team.
Yeah.
The push for commissions is tough, because there are people who will do it for cheaper. But again, you have to check out the service. We are not expensive, but our service is totally top notch. So
it's something I want to actually drill down on, because I would say that almost every conversation we have now with a seller, commission comes up. What is your commission rate? And I find that the perspective, and probably at the fault of agents, that the seller has is that we all do the same thing, we can all offer the same services, and really their mindset is around, what is your commission rate, less the sale price that I'm guaranteed to get, and you're all going to sell my house for the same amount. So if I can just find the cheapest commission rate, that makes sense. Whereas for me, I like to sort of spin the conversation to, Mr. Seller, Mrs. Seller, you're concerned with the amount in your pocket. And if you think that the crew or Scott Benson team can sell your house for $800 as opposed to $775, well, then you happily pay, a commission rate that's a little bit higher than, say, a discount brokerage.
Exactly.
Because you're going to net more money. How do you think that we're doing as an industry on sort of educating the seller or even educating our agents to kind of handle that standard objection of what's your commission rate? Oh, that guy's going to do it for less. I'm just going to go in that direction.
I think that as an industry, poorly, I think that we are going to do much better as a team, being able to educate and explain that if you sign with me, you have all of our agents and all of yours and everyone else's to assist that sale.
Yeah, and I think that's a good segue. So what you're really talking about is why are competitive brands aligning themselves within a network? Why are we collaborating together? Why are we sharing best practices? Why are we sharing coaching and training? Why are we sharing on a podcast?
Exactly.
And I think what we've decided as a group, and the network is growing rapidly, is if the consumer wins, then we win as well. And the consumer is demanding, more exposure, more agents showing up to their open houses, more agents showing up with buyers. And when we have a network to sort of leverage one another's agent pool, ultimately the consumer gets more people showing up to their house. So do you think that there's going to be a big takeover in the networks that succeed moving forward, this collaboration? Do you think it's a fad? Do you think it's a wave that will disappear?
I definitely do. I definitely don't think it's a fad. That's why we are all in. We really think that having the top teams joining and sharing their practices, skills, and their staff is where we are going to push to the top.
And what's funny is this is kind of, I would say, a progression over the last 10 years anyways. I have 10 years of experience, 11 years of experience in real estate. But I remember from time to time over those years, you'd have a seller say, I've got this person that I really want to use, but I really want to attach my sale or my house to your big marketing dollars. Would you guys consider working together? And at that time, it was like, I don't really know. There's not a lot of meat on the bone to split here with our big advertising dollars. It would be difficult to sort of split up that commission. Now we're actually seeing it as, well, when you join and sell with our network, actually you are getting exposure with the crew, the Scott Benson team, et cetera, et cetera. Do you think that this will force the industry in a direction, or do you think that the teams that stay on an island, so to speak, do you think that they survive? Do you think that they lose market share? How do you see that playing out?
I don't know that it will force the industry because the people are stubborn and a lot of them have been at it forever. And our industry is not really conducive to people joining and trying to share. So I think that the people who can get over that will just elevate.
Yep. We always talk shop every time we get together, but it's also so nice to get to know you personally. I said to you very early on that when I make a connection like we've made, I like to go all in for those types of guys, and I see you kind of reciprocating as well.
100%.
Tell me a little bit about you personally. So outside of real estate, what are you into? You had some big personal news. Maybe throw that out on the podcast come up recently.
I did. I just got engaged.
Congratulations.
Thank you. I'm excited about that. Personally, I love to work. I spend a lot of time working. When I'm not, I'm at the cottage near Collingwood. Love to spend time there. I'm out on the boat and just enjoying life. And just That's about it, actually.
I'll tell you
Traveling
something.
as well.
I'll tell you something that I do see in you, which I love. You have a soft spot for kids. You have a soft spot for your community. Tell us about the last event you ran. There was the movie you did for the young boy. What was
Yes,
it?
so we did a superhero event for a young child who had cancer, and I think we raised about $2,500. But we're doing just tons of events around here. We're doing a pumpkin carving on the 29th. We're doing a haunted area around on the 31st, and I'm gonna scare some children. And then we're doing a car show. We have Jazz Fest, just tons of stuff to be involved.
Yeah, and so does that come from a love of your community? And how often would you say you're running a community event? Because for me, it seems like you guys run something every month. Is that accurate?
Even more.
Wow.
So in October, I think there are 5.
Wow.
In September, I think we probably had 3. August, we had 8. We have concerts in the square, movies in the park, just to try to give back.
That's amazing, right?
I have been blessed, and I'm happy to help.
That's amazing. I love that. Tell us a little bit about your brother. So I find, too, in every successful team
Yep.
and every successful business, you will kind of have the face of the brand, and then you will have the operator who tends to be more in the shadows. Is that a fair assessment of Carson?
So yeah, Carson is in charge of everything.
Yeah.
He saves our life every day. His background is in art, and yeah, he has more empathy. So anyone that has to talk about their feelings and everything, he's in charge of that, and I handle real estate stuff.
Yeah, that makes sense. And so tell us a little bit about you guys growing up. Were you always pretty close? Was there a...
Yeah, so Carson and I are 6 years apart, but really close. Like, I coached his sports, and yeah, just I don't think he and I have argued ever.
Wow. I got to tell you something. So you could tell that I was just trying to hit your heart in the soft spot there. And when we mentioned Carson, you lit up. So I love that. I love that.
I know he's amazing, and he is the soul in our team.
That's so good. And only the 2 of you guys in your family? 2 kids?
No, there's 2 girls.
Oh, okay. And
I'm the oldest.
Okay.
And then a girl, him, another girl.
Okay, amazing. In real estate, the girls, sisters?
No.
You can't bring them in, or you just they know to stay
Carson
out?
and I tried a couple times, but they weren't having it. So yeah, no.
Fair enough. So tell us a little bit about expansion into Norfolk.
Yep.
How far? So Brantford, Paris, Hamilton. Those are kind of the corridors that you sort of focus on now. How far outside of Paris is Norfolk, and what's kind of the opportunity there?
So it's about a half hour outside, and we have been transacting there quite a lot, and we have just sold 50 townhouses there, and we have 118 coming. So yeah, it's an expanding area where I'm planning to capitalize on.
Do you see the pre-construction slowing down? We've seen a little bit of a market slowdown. So, this podcast being run in September 2022, we've seen the market sort of pull back in pricing. Our volume of sales is down. Do you see that in pre-construction as well?
I do. Obviously, our pre-construction partners had planned to sell for X. Now we're telling them it's probably Y, so they're holding on. So whereas we were planning to launch in June, now it'll probably be January.
Who do you see as the majority of buyers for the pre-construction market? Do you see it as new immigrants? Do you see it as first-time home buyers? Do you see it as second property purchases? Who do you say make up the majority?
I think that is contingent on the property. So there were several condo projects launched here, and it was primarily investors. In Norfolk, it's more buyers. Even though it was an amazing investment, our townhouses, we sold them for about 450. Now there's a few of them have transacted for 850
Wow.
in the span of a year.
Wow.
So it was an amazing investment, and I should have bought a couple. It's pre-construction is a great investment to the right person.
And so let's talk a little bit about that. So you see those prices almost double in a year. Obviously, they were purchased a couple of years before completion.
Yep.
So where do you think we're headed in today's economy and specifically to real estate? Do you think that we're going to plateau with the prices the way they are? Do you think we have some more room on the downside? Is it going to rebound?
So I think we have seen a pullback. In some places, it's 20 points. I think that we're at the bottom, I hope, and that we may see one more rate hike, and then things should plateau.
Yeah, okay. So you would say that you have an optimistic outlook for spring 2023?
I do.
Okay.
I'm extremely optimistic.
Yeah, that's good. No,
Inventory is still low, and people need properties.
Yep. I do see that for sure. So when you look at the team and keeping the team engaged, keeping the team active, keeping revenue coming in a slow or I would say softening real estate economy, what are some of the ways that you've shifted? Have you changed anything? Is there more prospecting going on? More advertising, less? How are you tackling it?
Prospecting is important. Our guys call a lot, but really leaning into events just to meet possible clients in a positive atmosphere is really doing well for us.
That's amazing. And so do you individually, because a lot of agents will watch this podcast, do you recommend that your agents have their own CRM as well as a team CRM, or do you run everything off of the team? How do you manage that?
So they all have individual leads.
And which software do you like? So there's a lot of them out there.
We are using All Up Boss.
Yep.
And that is great. It's integrated to dialers and everything. So no.
Okay. We also adopted Follow Up Boss in the last year. We haven't, I don't think, used it to its potential, but we did see it as kind of the industry leader for a CRM system. Tell us a little bit about what you think is going to be the next big marketing push for real estate. And I'll tell you where I'm going with it.
Okay.
We've seen traditional marketing, billboards, bus shelters, flyers, sort of transition very quickly into social media, the TikTok, the Instagram, the podcast, etc. Do you have any vision on where we're going from here? Does it stay on this lane for a long time? Does it change one more time?
I really think that socials are going to be big in the next 2-3 years. And I'm really buying into events just to meet clients rather than using postcards or flyers. I prefer to talk to people individually.
Yeah, it makes sense to me. Do you have a front runner out of all the socials? So, TikTok, YouTube, is there one that you would invest
I like
most
Instagram.
in? Okay.
I'm not on TikTok yet. I need to get on TikTok.
Yeah, nor am I, and I think that it's difficult to do them all well.
Yeah.
But I think agents want to hear, like, what are the big brands investing in? So for you, your front runner's Instagram.
I like Instagram.
Yeah. Okay.
And Facebook.
Yep. Okay. And have you ever run ads on Instagram or Facebook?
Of course.
Successfully?
Yes.
Okay. So let's throw a carrot out there to the agents that are listening. Tell us about an effective Facebook campaign that you've run. Was it a new listing that you posted? Was it a contest? Give us kind of the granular.
Oh yeah. So we boost all our listings. We spend about $10,000 a month on that. And it really is great for engagement. The socials are starting to not share your posts until it's boosted. So I think that spending is extremely important.
Yeah, and I want to touch on that because I think for the audience, one reason big teams don't understand why a seller would go with an individual agent versus a big team is because we have an $8,000 a month online spend that goes directly into the listings.
Exactly.
And so we look at that and say, how can the individual agent compete with that type of a spend across their advertising
And they
mix?
can't.
Yeah, and so that's one thing where I say it's so obvious that you would get more exposure. But in defense of the single agent, because we all know there are great single agents out there.
Of course.
Are we not doing a good enough job as a big team to compel the single agent to come in and work with us? Is it a resistance to the splitting of the pie, if you will, the splitting of the commissions? Where is that resistance?
I think that the splitting of the pie is important. I think that a lot of people feel like they don't need that help, or they can do it on their own, or they could do less actual work if they keep more. But I think that they are not seeing the added benefits.
So one thing that, and I'm telling you, this has been like a conundrum for me. I can never get my head around it. I often say to a lot of top agents that are on a team, specifically, my top tier agents, the only position I would prefer as opposed to being a team lead would be sort of that top agent on a team where I don't have the headaches of the overhead and the management and the operations.
I would love that too. I miss it so much. I love doing deals.
That's right. So
Yeah.
so for me, I loved frontline work, and from time to time still have to get out there and do that frontline work. Are we doing a bad job of explaining why that is such a good opportunity? Because I find that there are a lot of agents out there that see joining a team as, well, I'm going to give
Yep.
half my paycheck away or what have you. Are we not doing a good job of explaining the value? And where, if we were given this opportunity right now for 30 seconds, where is the value in joining the team? And how would you kind of, pitch it to an individual agent that was looking?
I think the value for our agents is that everything is taken care of. You literally don't have to do anything. We cover all your expenses. All you have to do is sell.
Yeah, it's so funny. I say to every team, or not team member, every agent that will call and say, we're thinking about joining your team, or we're thinking about joining a brokerage or a team. What's your splits? What's your deal setup? And I literally say to them, as long as you can convert, then we have the leads and the opportunities. So the marriage is that you can convert someone you can basically convince someone that they would want to work with you. That's a likable personality, somebody with grit, somebody who's willing to work long hours, maybe door knock for their buyer. If you can convince somebody that they want to work with you, we can provide those opportunities of people that are looking for agents.
Exactly. It would be impossible for us to do 300 transactions on our own, but we have leads to do that.
That's right. And it's funny you mentioned that. So my point in growing a team is that there's only one reason to grow a team, because you have a surplus of clients that you can't manage without more people. And so that is the right reason to grow. Growing for growing, ultimately is futile in nature. You agree with that?
Of course.
Yeah. That's great, right? I can't thank you enough for taking the time to sit down with me. As we get to know each other more and more, I get more fired up about our industry. I'm excited to grow this network with you. Is there any kind of last words or anything you wanted to touch on that we hadn't spoken about yet?
No, just for the people to stay tuned. There's a lot of announcements coming, and I'm excited about everything.
Yeah, and I think, me as well.
Yeah.
I think one of the things is October's a big month. There's going to be a lot of things that we're going to trickle out, and we're just beginning, which is pretty exciting.
It's only getting started.
Just getting started. Okay, thanks again, Ryan.
Thank you.